Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmasters club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Christina, your sergeant at arms of the meeting. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premium club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our time hand raised so we all can immediately skipping the tier.
There seems to be some internet connection issues on Christina's end. I'll just do the last part. Our timer has a virtual hand raised so we can see who the timer is. And I also like to introduce our Toastmaster of the day, who is an experienced and well-established leader, as well as well-respected Toastmaster, Jyothi Thomas. And Jyothi believes that today's theme, which is leadership that builds strong teams, is a wake-up call for everyone to value how we handle our teams and individuals that surround us. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you very much. And that is for the Sergeant at Arms, which I will convey through the General Evaluator. Thank you very much for that warm welcome. I would also like to thank our greeter, Joyce, and the Sergeant at Arms, who has so beautifully brought in the theme. Not to forget, most certainly, the PR master who's sitting there quietly. Today's theme. How many of you thought about it? How many of us read about it? Very clearly, when I was thinking about it, it was a wake-up call, and that's precisely what our president just mentioned. I'm going to start with a simple thought. In every team, there are people we notice and people we rely on. The ones we notice often speak, lead, and are visible. The ones we rely on show up consistently, deliver quietly, and keep things moving. Let's stay mindful. Just as how we are reliant on every guest here when we welcome the whole lot, we just don't say greetings. As a matter of fact, it is something which we feel, and we welcome them to make sure they are there and they write something in our guest book so we connect. Staying attached is different from being connected. And that's precisely we're talking about making teams, forming a team, and staying as a team. Sometimes, in the pace of progress, we focus on one and overlook few things. Not intentional, but it happens. Today's theme invites us to reflect on that. Who are those people we sometimes, without our own knowledge, we've probably missed out, haven't connected with? It is not intentional, but everybody doesn't have to think the same way like what you think. And sorry doesn't bring the dead man alive. While we say that, it's very, very important that we build strong teams. Hence, Here at Leadership Speak, we make sure there are several themes we come up with, which is always a reminder where we pause, think, put into action, collect with our team to find out where we are going. It's a very interesting meeting today, and we today as self-directed leaders have risen about everything, united as a team, and we are showcasing it today. And I'm sure all of you can say that. Let's have a round of applause, at least an emoticon. Come on, cheer everybody, because we are a team. Yes, Sandra, thank you. Let's kick it up. Thank you so much. Now, with that thought, we get into today's meeting. While we open, we start our meeting with raising the toast. And after that, I will introduce our tag role players, the timer, no R counter because we don't have the R's, and we only say the R and the wow. The grammarian will come in after that. Look at our dashing Toastmaster Aries, who is ready to celebrate today's theme with the toast he's going to raise, who truly believes in team makes everything move and staying connected. May I now request the timer to watch out, and over to Toastmaster Aries to raise the toast. Thank you.
We often think that strong leadership is actually about being strong, is having all the answers. We think that these leaders are those that are in control. Not quite. Because the best leaders are those that actually come from a different standpoint. Those are not the leaders with long speeches. No, they don't have long speeches. The best leaders don't have all the answers. But the best leadership is that comes with questions. The great leaders ask questions, many questions. Questions like, what do you think? Questions like, how can we improve our systems and our processes? Questions like, Sandra, how can I support you? These questions change everything. Because Sandra will feel valued. The team will feel valued. Ideas will flow across the organization. And while you do that, your team builds confidence. Your team becomes stronger. Did you know that the best teams are not those created by pressure? No. My working environment, trust me, too much pressure. But you don't build the best teams under pressure. You build strong teams through trust. Strong leadership will create results. But the best leadership will create lasting impact. Are you creating lasting impact? Fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. In your organization, are you creating lasting impact at your church, at home? Are you creating lasting impact? Because when you focus on asking questions, on building your team, as opposed to be a strong leader yourself, because you don't achieve results through yourself alone, but through others. So build your team, because when you do that, your team will become stronger, your organization performance will be greater, you'll have innovation across the board, and your team will feel more confident. And trust me in this one. So tonight, let's toast to those leaders who don't work alone. but multiply through others, that build through trust. Those teams that create and continue to create impact after they are gone. Fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, let's please raise our glass. Let's please raise our glass. I invite you to raise your glass and repeat after me. To leadership that builds stronger team.
Leadership
Leadership
that
build
builds
stronger
teams.
teams.
Thank you very much. Back to you, Toastmaster of today.
Thank you very much. Can we have some emoticon? Let's clap for our Toastmaster Aries who proposed the toast. Now it's time for me to invite our timer, Sonia. And for Sonia, about the theme, she says effective leadership is building on consistency, recognition, sustaining recognition, and the team's contribution is the driving change. Thank you very much, and may I now request you to explain your role, please. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Hello, everyone, dear fellow Toastmasters. My name is Sonia, and I am your timer for the meeting today. I shall take note of your time according to the agenda. And after each session, I shall post the times into the chat box. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you.
Would you like to just flash the cards, maybe? So everybody's aware. Thank you very much. Now we move on to our very new Toastmaster, to the leadership speak, but not to the Toastmasters fraternity. Toastmaster Christina, who is the grammarian for the day, may I quickly check if she's been able to get back on?
Yes.
Yes, thank
Can
you,
you hear me?
Christina.
Thank you,
Stage is all
Madam
yours.
Toastmasters. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'm Christina, your grammarian for today. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language use. I'll take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word of the day is cultivate, which means to foster the growth of. An example of the word is our purpose is to cultivate. Sorry. Yeah. To cultivate and care for the children in our keep. Dear members and guests, is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting, and also report on the usage of the word of the day. Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. Back to you.
Thank you very much, grammarian Christina. At Leadership Speak, we have always cultivated a habit, nurtured it, where we make sure our distinguished guests are welcome. And we make sure that you are at home, you're part of us, and we right here are a team. May I request our lovely guests to go ahead and post on the chat box where you're from, and make sure that you fill out our guest books. The president will be right there at the end of the session to connect with each and every one of you. We are always here to make sure that nobody feels out of place. You are part of this family. Welcome to Leadership Speaker. Now, we have moved on to the next interesting session. What can that be? It's the very clear part where you have the educational speech coming up. And I'm going to ask the general evaluator to just correct me in case there is any change to it. President Holmes, thank you. And the evaluator for my speech is none other than, you saw somebody jumping out, and I'm going to invite the evaluator, DTM Sandra Valks, to read out the purpose of my speech.
Thank you. So great to be here and commenting and observing Jyothi. You're already into a great leading of a team, and I don't do the speech title, but the purpose of this project is to practice applying feedback. And she's always had lots of feedback and served as a speech evaluator during a club meeting. And the purpose of this speech is also for the member to present a speech and receive from the evaluator. I hope you've got broad shoulders because I always evaluate clearly. And I'm to focus on the member's speaking style and recommend improvements that the member can apply to the next speech. Over to you, Jyothi. Oh,
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I missed one thing here. Particular feedback request for all of us to follow is engaging in humor, just to get an idea if she can put a little chuckle in us as well. I'll be watching.
Thank you very much to my evaluator, Sandra Valks. And interestingly, though it's engaging in humor, spontaneous humor is my style. So when I need to bring in the chuckle, I just have to reach out to Sandra Valks. She'll make sure it is right there. With that being said, this is not a speech to preach or to teach. This is a simple share where each and every one of us have been there, done that. Leadership that builds strong teams. Let me ask you to reflect. Have you ever worked so hard, stayed consistent, and have felt unseen? You're there, but poof, you're not there. Not ignored, not criticized, just not noticed. Now imagine that someone in our team may be feeling that way right now, today. Teams never fall apart when any leader introduces a change. They fall apart when people feel that they're not seen, that they're not valued or not included. That's where a leader is truly tested. From Gallup to Google to McKinsey company, where they did a complete research, this is the clear message. That's data for you. Now, if you ask me to pull up the numbers, I won't, because I was so lost in the things that we can do without our knowledge. So today's speeches, people don't disengage because they can't perform. They disengage when they don't feel seen or valued and included. Wonderful guests, fellow Toastmasters, self-directed leaders. We know exactly what we are doing. Leadership that builds strong teams is not about the moments of change, but it's about the moment of consistency. Most of us step into leadership roles wanting to make that big difference. We bring in ideas, we bring in energy, and we are moving things forward. And often we do succeed, but somewhere along the way, stop, pause. Is it something like we call it the champagne bottle effect? We open and we're full of energy and it goes push, and then right down we realize there's somebody left behind. While we are pushing and moving forward, there is a shift that happens. People who were once engaged become quieter. Now, sometimes I try really hard to stay quiet, and I'm telling you, I feel I've had a fizzy drink and everything is bubbling in my mouth. I have to say it. It's hard for me not to say it, though I say, stop it, Jyothi, hush, quiet. No, but that's okay. I hold on to myself for a while, then pop goes the weasel. I have to say what I have to say. It's only for the good of all. I come from this huge, humongous joint family, and I only know to work as a unit, as a family. Social justice is very important. It's outside of Toastmasters and within Toastmasters, and that's what we tribe here at Leadership Speak. Each member here has given me that. When I feel I'm not visible, I have somebody I can just run to and say, I am feeling this way. Help me. And there is someone always there to light that spirit back into. That's the wonderful way we work as a team. We often wonder, what happens when leaders do not care? The pace of progress. We stop noticing. And the leader probably didn't mean to, but it's just happened. Let's ask, where is the focus? How did we miss out? What happened? Especially when people who were there with you to build it up. There is no conflict. There is no complaint. Just less ownership from team members. Watch out. When I asked DTM Sandra and mentioned about few points, I said, she had this encyclopedia jumping out of her mouth and she started quoting people who were telling me what is team, how important it is, the rules. One day is not enough to give the gyan, the mantra, and for us to become the guru. This is something we need to keep going. And I love seeing the heart that Gilda is throwing out because she knows team is important. We all know that. There's a pattern in many of us that we miss to recognize. People are brought in during a time of urgency when it's right on top. We quickly make sure they are brought in to deliver, to fix, and we move things forward. Then slowly, they slip away. They become less visible. That is not always intentional, my dear friends, and all of us know that. And we have our charter members here, senior Toastmasters, who will reflect and think, aha, that's true. I know. Because as a team, they believe in encouraging and making sure feedback is given to rise us up and never to belittle us. And I collect every feedback like gold coins. And I'm rich, abundantly rich. Let's ask ourselves, what is it that we build to make a strong team? How is it we connect with people? Are we only attached like the switchboard where we are right there without it being powered on? Ask yourselves, did we by mistake miss out anybody? Not all speeches are meant to give you data for the head and stories for the heart. There are speeches that wake up and tell us, hey, you goofed up. The inner voice, the child within us, wakes up. There are times that we say it's all not about just being and bringing in strategy or structure. The experience of being part of something. The experience and the feeling that you give for a fellow Toastmaster or your colleague or a family member or anybody you meet by making them feel that they are part of your unit is the key. People over process. That is so important. Let's ask ourselves a question. What must we carry forward to make the change? To bring in strong teams who don't choose between the old and the new, or we look at the momentum. Leadership that brings direction, togetherness, where everyone moves forward. In the most simplistic form, leadership that builds strong teams comes to three key things: to see, to value, and to sustain. Consistency of this is so important. That is a team which will keep us going. Even when the leader is not there, the team will be there to lift you up. And we see that right here. A leader is there leading from behind. And let's look at the wolf theory. I'm not going to tell the story because I'm watching my timer as well. When we look at a teamwork, we give time and space for everybody. So let's pause. Let's reflect and ask ourselves something very simple, which becomes the cornerstone. Did I forget somebody? Did I miss out? To make sure to tell that person, oops, I realized I didn't come to you and ask how you're doing. These are the blind spots. The blind spots, our very own subject matter expert Ghada said, that's the danger. And often we need to wake up and tell people. So let's pause, reflect, and check those blind spots. Are we making everybody part of our team, that huge big family? And what is it I've left you with? My call to action has been there right from the start. The call to action that says very clearly to each and every member here, where I so love leadership speak, this is family, more than the club. Every member here, they are the spirit of my being. I have to wake up. I go to bed and wake up with members from right here. Starting today, I'm going to ask all of you, just make 3 conscious choices. See that one person more clearly. Value one contribution more intentionally. Sustain one behavior that builds trust. And you know, we are a team. Leadership, and the leader is also part of the team. He cannot be dangling somewhere separately. If the leader is not part of the team, we are never a family to build. With that, I leave you with the thought that I just said. Post on the chat, which I will look for after the meeting. What is that one thing we can bring in to our team? Thank you very much. And now I hand it over back to myself, the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you very much. Look at my lovely team cheering everybody. And I'm sure every guest over here will look at the beautiful background. We are all dressed to kill, cheering with matching mugs like what Nicole brought in her blue mug, blue background. We are present. Fellow Toastmasters, it's now time to bring the other prepared speakers. I'm smiling, I'm beaming. Obviously, I'm part of this wonderful team. Now, I would like to invite the first speaker for this morning, evening, afternoon. Where are you logging in from? Greetings to all of you. We have a very dear Paramjit Singh. Check out. When you think of team, he's a one-stop shop. Everybody will say, go to Paramjit. He's right there. So may I invite his evaluator to kindly come and read the purpose of his speech, please. Thank you, Yusli.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Greeting, colleague Toastmasters and guests. Today, Toastmaster Paramjit Singh is working on the project, Develop a Communication Plan. The purpose of this project is for him to practice developing a communication plan. He will have 5 to 7 minutes to present the speech. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, my dear Yusli, for that. Do we have our speaker, the man who's filled with humor? Today, Paramjit Singh, as the evaluator mentioned, Toastmaster Paramjit Singh, moving miles without losing minds. Moving miles without losing minds, Toastmaster Paramjit Singh. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. How many of you can reach your office early in the morning in 20 minutes? Imagine now you have to take about 2 hours to reach your office. No, not because you changed the job or not because you are relocated, but your job is relocated. For this, for you, it may be imagination. For me, it's a reality. Because from the last 40 years, our company is operating from the same location. But now, not by choice, but by necessity, we have to shift to a new area. And that is around 50 to 60 kilometers from my new place, existing place. And it takes about 2 hours, the rush hours, to reach there. Now, it is not about just moving the equipment. It involves people. It involves people means their routines, their lives, and their daily motion, moving out. Because today, all of the workers and the staff is almost staying in 2 to 5 kilometers radius of our company. And they reach office in about 10 to 15 minutes. But now, it will be really difficult. Or some of them go to lunch also for their home, not because they miss their family, but because they want to have a freshly cooked food in the lunch. Now it is about going 50 to 60 kilometers around out of the city. And certainly it will add to the travel time. It will add to the travel cost. Or staying there in the new area is also very costly. Of course, going for 2 hours will add to their body fatigue on the daily basis. It's really very difficult for all of them to absorb this. Of course, company has already described that they will be providing a mini bus for traveling. Oh, and as well as they will be giving about 10% reallocation money for them to reduce their burden. But the real question again is the same thing. It's very easy to say to move the equipment, to move the company, but the major issue was how to carry the people along with you. That was the main issue. And we know that moving them is not very easy because it's not engineering, it is communication. And once the communication is not proper, all the plans, they all fail. So this was basically not a logical, logistical shift, but a psychological shift. Now, based on this, I designed a three-phase communication plan. The first one, inform, no surprises, means let them know early, let them be clear, honestly, as well as no last-minute surprises and no sugarcoating. And also communicating them that why this shift is happening, what is the timeline, maybe 3 to 4 months, and how the management is helping us and supporting us to do this. So that there are no rumors, there are no assumptions, no last minute shocks. Because I understand one thing very clearly: uncertainty creates fear and clarity builds the trust. The second thing which I was planned was involve, because every voice matters. So we made a forum, we made groups, we made one-to-one discussion, and we asked them also about their concerns, about how can we support them, how can we help them. Because people does not resist change. People resist if they are not heard. And few of them, one of them worker also came to me, will I be able to reach home in the time for my dinner time? They had their own concerns, carpooling. So a lot of things were discussed. And the third one was inspire, because it was to change the total narrative from why it is happening to me to what opportunity this brings. Because we highlighted that it will certainly improve. We have more better facilities, organized worker accommodation, as well as for the long-term sustainability of the company. And when people get the purpose, they find the strength to adopt. Addressing their concerns, of course, we cannot ignore their travel time, their cost of living, and their fatigue on the daily basis. But we had listened to them, we had empathy with them, and we acknowledged them. And on basis of that, we made a plan. And our plan, our factory is just being shifting now, and people are cooperating now. Maybe within 2 to 3 months, we will be able to shift the whole organization to the new area. But the only thing which was very concerning for me was the communication. And this plan has helped me to do a proper communication. And this gave me another very important lesson also. Change is very easy to announce, but it is very difficult to observe, because everything lies on the communication. Not communication that informs, but the communication that connects. So as we are moving towards shifting our factory, I always tell them, let us remember, we are not just replacing equipment or relocating equipment. We are relocating trust. We are not just relocating or extending our time or journey. We are expanding our resilience. And if we communicate with clarity, empathy, and purpose, this doesn't mean, because it is the main thing is not about the miles traveled, but how many people you carry with you. And then even a 60 miles distance, it becomes like a one step forward. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much for that speech. And I think this is the moment, with all respect to you, Toastmaster Paramjit, things happening all across the globe. And today you're sitting here with challenging situations, being part of this team and delivering your speech. Thank you ever so much. And this is from my big family here. Now we move on to the next prepared speaker, who's none other than the second speaker already, Toastmaster Eileen, and her evaluator, DTM Robin. I think I got that right. Yeah. Can we spotlight, please? Thank you so much. Over to you, DTM Robin.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. I wish I'm not a DTM yet, but anyway. So, Helene will be speaking from the Dynamic Leadership Path, and this is a level 1 project, although it's a difficult one, project number 3. And just to tweak this purpose statement a little bit, the purpose of this project is for Helene to practice or to cultivate using vocal variety or body language or both to enhance his speech. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much. Probably when I said DTM, that's coming events casting its shadow, and you're making me feel good too. Thank you very much. And now, Toastmaster Eileen, learning to let go of control. Learning to let go of control. Toastmaster Eileen, over to you.
Have you ever tried to hold on to something so tightly, yet it keeps slipping away anyway? Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. I used to believe that being in control was the key to my success. If I planned everything perfectly, worked hard enough, and anticipated everything outcome, then nothing could go wrong. Being in control felt like safety. It gave me certainty and power. But over time, I discovered something unexpected. The more I tried to control everything, the more anxious, exhausted, and disconnected I became. Imagine you are holding a handful of sand. If you hold it gently, it stays in your hand. But if you squeeze it tightly, it slips through your fingers. That's exactly how control works in our life. I remember about 5 years ago, I was trying to manage every detail of my life, my job, my relationships, every conversation, every possibility, every what if. I thought I was being responsible, but instead I was overwhelmed. Then something changed. When I ended my relationship with my husband, I thought I had lost control. I paused. I reflect. And for the first time, I felt good of myself. I felt calm. I stopped trying to control things that are out of my hand. Not because everything was perfect, but because I accepted that not everything needed to be. That moment taught me something important. There are two types of things in life. Things we can control and things we cannot. We can control our actions, our effort, our attitude, and how we respond. But we cannot control other people's actions, unexpected outcomes, or the future. When we try to control what we cannot, we suffer. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means focusing our energy on what truly matters. Accepting uncertainty and trusting the process. It is a shift from force to flow. Think about a river. It does not fight every rock in its path. It flows around it. It adapts. And yet, over time, it becomes powerful enough to shape mountains. That is the strength of letting go. I invite you all to reflect. What are you holding on to too tightly? A situation, an expectation, a fear? And what will happen if you loosen your grip just a little? Because life is never meant to be controlled perfectly. It's meant to be lived fully. And the moment you stop trying to control everything, is the moment you finally feel free. Letting go of control is not losing power. It is earning freedom. TMOD.
Thank you very much. Flow without fighting every rock. I think that's what we need to cultivate. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Eileen. Now we move on to yet another sparkling member of our team. The third speaker, Gilda, and her evaluator. Can we have them spotlighted, please? Our third evaluator. Thank you very much. DTM Irfan. Bye. Hi. May I request you to go ahead and read the purpose of her speech, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Today, Gilda Shlah is going to deliver her speech from Pathway Persuasive Influence. It is her level 2, project 1, which talks about understanding your leadership style. The topic she has chosen is designing my words. The purpose statement says that this project is for the member to identify her primary leadership style or styles. For member to share some aspect of her primary leadership style or discuss leadership style in journal. During the completion of this project, the member respondent a questionnaire to help identify her primary leadership style. With this, I hand over charge back to see and wait what is the leadership style of our Gilda, Shlah. Back to you.
Thank you very much, DJ Mirfan. Our ever smiling Toastmaster Gilda, designing my words. Designing my words, Toastmaster Gilda Shlah.
Wondered why the leadership role went to somebody else, despite your seniority and qualification. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, greetings to all. I still remember my mother's words echo in my mind. If you want, she said, your words to be heard, your opinion to be mattered, be to the point and direct. So I became advisor of everybody I know around me. I told people how to run their lives. My friends, my younger siblings, even sometimes my parents. In return, many of them were distancing themselves. I never wondered why until I lost my first job. My first part-time job was as a cashier at a boutique store for women fashion. During my first 2 weeks, I was watching all the salespeople, including the manager, how they handle their customers. I noticed that the manager greets the customers from the minute they walk to the store to the minute they leave. Some of them, as a matter of fact, they run away before even they look at what we actually have at our store. I needed to take my leadership and go to her. I went to her and I said, you are shadowing the customers from the minute they walk in to the minute they leave. You are not giving them any chance to breathe even or make their mind. I was fired. She let me go. I left work, arrived home, full of disappointment. My sister saw me. She knew what happened. She said, Gilda, our words can destroy connection or create influence. From the minute we open our mouth, we are taking leadership role. And impactful leaders, they are the ones who know how to design their words to be influential. I then realized I need to change my leadership style. Not by changing or identifying what kind of leader I was, but I knew I have to change my words. Ladies and gentlemen, from the minute we wake up to the minute we put our heads on our pillow, we are leading by action, by our action, and by our words. And there are many leadership styles, but every one of them become impactful if we become aware of the people around us and the situation. With that awareness, we cannot lead. We destroy connection like I did in the past. There are many leadership styles, and there is no one better than the other. If we use them, if we use our words correctly and make them impactful, being aware of everything we do, everything we say. When my kids were teenagers, I used authoritative leadership because my focus was for a long-term goal. When I mentor any of my colleagues here at Toastmaster, I use coaching leadership. Why? Because I want to empower my friends to develop the skills they need to become confident leaders themselves. And when I go for dinner with my girlfriends, who they are 20 of them, I become a democratic leader. Otherwise, we'll never go to anywhere. Leadership is our behavior, our habits we do from the minute we wake up to the minute we put our head on our pillow. At night, I don't ask myself, what kind of leadership I use today? I ask myself, how did my words influence and impact everybody I connected with? Dear members, dear guests, if any of you miss the opportunity of that leadership role at work or anywhere, maybe it's not your qualification, but it's the leadership styles you are using. Don't be stuck to one type of leadership. We need to be flexible. There are 10 leaderships around there. We need to excel in every one of them, being aware where to use them by being aware of the people we are connecting with and the situation. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Designing your words. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Gilda, for that. Now that brings us to the end of the first session for today's meeting. Now, I would like to remind again and welcome our lovely guests. I was just going through, we have so many of you visiting today. Welcome to our Self-Directed Leadership Speak Toastmasters Club. And we are so thrilled to see so many of you. Please hang in, fill out the form. May I ask the PR to kindly post that form booked out. We would love where you're from. I don't know too many people who have checked in to say where you're coming in from. And we have the best effort speaker poll being brought out. Can I request everybody? We have 32 of us. Please go ahead and fill that out so we can move on to the next part. Welcome guests once again, and please wait for our president to reach out at the end of the session. Thank you very much for the poll. May I also request the timer to kindly post? Thank you. I can see Sonia just nodding ahead. Yes, Sonia, we got the timer put on. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now is a very interesting moment where I can breathe and say, ha ha, time to invite our president, who is today the general evaluator. Who is the general evaluator? This gentleman all the way from Singapore, project manager, who wears multiple hats with a feather to every cap he uses. He's got this big smile because he works for the Singapore government as a project manager. Being part of Toastmasters here at Leadership Speak is your biggest crown. And it gives me so much pleasure in inviting you to take over from here. You truly believe that strong teams can certainly be projects that deliver stronger outcomes. Thank you. And back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, TMOD. As General Evaluator, I'll be leading by calling upon the evaluators, and after each evaluation, I will give a short comment, feedback to each of the evaluator. The general evaluation will then conclude with my own evaluation of the entire meeting. Then let's start with the first evaluator, DTM Rivero, who believes that learning to build teams is a key skill for all leaders to learn. Let us hear from Ray on his evaluation from the toast, of the toast. Ray.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator, and especially Aries. Aries asked me to give an evaluation with these criteria. Did I present clear alignment with today's meeting themes, leadership that builds strong teams? Yes, you did. Was I confident in my delivery? You certainly were. And did I deliver a strong emotional connection that inspires, engages the audience, and reinforces a memorable message? In the words of a baseball game, yes, you let off a hit to lead the team onward to a great game. I like the use of your body language, especially when you stepped up to the camera. I have a message for you, audience. Did you listen to what I just said? That type of emphasis invites the audience and challenges them, but not in a threatening way. And thank you for telling Sandra that she was going to help you before she even knew she was going to help you. Now, you clearly aligned them toast with the meeting thing, which through a key point. Stronger leaders ask for results, but with a lasting impact, or something to that effect. So that's great. You emphasize your points with emotional passing. And from others, a welcome and happy energy to help start off the meeting. As for improvements, that was challenging because I thought this was pretty good. The only thing I could think of right away was a slight zoom tweak. If you've heard about photography, there is a section called like the section of nines where you put your subject in the center square. You were kind of a little low with the camera, and if you can just move that a little bit up, that would help you express your gesturing and your body language much more effectively. Challenges. Focus first always on connecting with the audience and let the passion flow through. When you deliver from the heart, your connection with the audience will follow. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, DTM Ray. You have asked for feedback on providing an evaluation for the toast speaker to help improve his skills in delivering a social speech. I note here that your request was delivering a social speech. Hence, my focus becomes when I'm listening to your evaluation. Am I able to tell whether your feedback is catered specifically to a social speech or any kind of speech in general? And for this part, I would say there is a lack of clarity, which I encourage you to elaborate further. Why did the things that you feel are good, which I also agree with you that Aries did a good job, why did those work so well for social speeches? And why is it that body language, in his case, was exceptionally missing or could be exceptionally much better because it is a social speech? The explanation of, for example, the differences in energy, in purpose, that would be helpful to identify how to deliver a outstanding social speech. Thank you so much, Ray. Our next evaluator is Ghada Almojarkish. She is evaluating our TMOD, Jyothi, in terms of how she has facilitated and led the entire meeting. Ghada says, in leadership speak, which she is here as a member for a year and a half, she believes that limitations are only existing in our own minds. And when we are able to build strong teams, it is a process where we are pouring in trust, respect, and love in everything that we do. Let's hear from Ghada and the evaluation for our Toastmaster of the day. Ghada.
Thank you, Holmes. Thank you. And leadership that cultivates trust, resilience, strength, and unity within the team. Jyothi, you demonstrated that reliable leadership and team building. Your invisible efforts resulted in tangible, impactful outcomes. Prepared and organized all relevant details ahead of time, and you created clarity and direction for all team members. As a reliable leader, responded decisively and calmly to unexpected last-minute challenges. And you successfully, yes, managed multiple roles when needed. I liked when you used appropriate and encouraging comments to engage the audience, like inviting applause, and also supported role takers effectively. I like these comments, like promoting the timer to display cards. And one recommendation I would suggest that provide examples that teach us as this team how to achieve balance, like highlighting the benefits of maintaining visible leadership, as you mentioned, while also sometimes being reliable. Also balancing, fostering a sense of attachment and also strong team connections. I like these concepts, but I needed some examples to know how. Overall, you gave a full effort commitment to ensure successful and exceptional meeting today with a strong team first mindset. Thank you. Back to you, Holmes.
Thank you, Ghada. You requested for feedback on giving a well-structured and clear evaluation. In terms of structure and clarity, I usually appreciate how a structure is given right at the start of an evaluation. For example, Ghada, there is one point that I appreciate about you and one area I would like you to improve. Ghada, I like your sincerity in the way that you express yourself and pointing out the things that Jyothi has impacted you with. This made me feel that as an evaluator, you listen very carefully and you are authentic in your connection with other Toastmasters. One area which I would like to challenge you is that each time you say you like something or you suggest something, make an effort to add 1 to 3 sentences to explain why. Because as fellow Toastmasters, when we know why, we are more motivated, and when we set that goal as our learning goal, we become more purposeful. Thank you so much, Ghada. Next, I'd like to invite DTM Sandra Valks to evaluate our leadership speech for the day, which is also done by Jyothi. Sandra says, leadership that builds strong teams is serving the team members and lifting them up within their area of expertise, honoring their contributions, and catching team members doing the right things so they commit with passion. Over to Sandra for her feedback for Jyothi in her educational speech. Sandra.
Thank you so much. And Jyothi, thank you for having the courage to have me evaluate. You're not off the hot seat yet. You did a beautiful job throughout the meeting, and I know that's a bit of a bleed between the TMOD and the education speaker, but choosing the topic of team and celebrating every player, you brought it with some humor and lightness, and you carried it. You've pulled it off. You're not here to preach or teach. So you had many little sayings in there that really caught my attention, and I had to write them down. You were concerned with a strong team. Your pauses and your pace are excellent. You've really improved that over the years, where you're not just running over us with enthusiasm, but actually pacing it out. And that's really important. You had very thoughtful items in there as well, such as, is any member not noticed? These are so critical, very powerful speech today. You used the tools of rhetorical questions, and you had the challenge of pulling together a meeting team and the Toastmaster of the day and the education speaker. That's a lot. And you did that by pulling individual team members together. You did what you were talking. And this speech felt very easy for you, in my opinion, because you live it. When we talk about things that we live, we don't have to think about how should I put that, because we live it. And that's what I found with today. You had a lot of strengths in your words, full of energy, and poof, someone is left behind. That caught me, because when I can enjoy the speech and be engaged, I'm also going to get the points. And I laughed when you said, oh, hard for me not to say it. Welcome to another straight talker. Pop goes the weasel. I know people had a chuckle there. I saw the hearts and the laughter going up. But here's one little point of correction that I think is important, is that we have to remember to always credit. So that was not your own saying. Pop Goes the Weasel is a child's song. So you might say, as in the child's song or the nursery rhyme or wherever, you just have to credit that. And another point that I noticed is, I think you often do it, but I was going to call you on it today, rise us up. Rise us up. It's raise us up. So rise is one of those words where it's just incorrectly used. And so it's raise us up and never leave anyone behind. So it was in another one of those quotes that I just felt inspired with. Did I forget someone? And the dancing and the dangling. Beautiful gestures. And again, you were doing it naturally and having fun doing it. Having your own fun doing it is how we reach across the screen. So in closing, I just want to say that we here at Leadership Speak are all team fans of being a team, and the chuckling and the feeling included is really important. We need to cultivate this energy and passion and the deep conviction that you have displayed today. Thanks for your energy and your passion and your love. Over to you, GE.
Sandra, one praise and one area of suggestion. The praise. You delivered very encouraging, very inspiring feedback for Jyothi. I was observing her facial expression from start to end. She was smiling so happily. And this is important for me as president because I know that Jyothi has put in a lot of effort for this particular meeting. Despite some of her physical discomforts that she's having this few weeks. So I appreciate how you're able to encourage, inspire her, and put that beautiful smile on her face with facts and actual happenings and its impact on you. Thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you.
A suggestion which relates to your request was to support the educational speaker to build on the skills she asked you to. On this part, when I read this particular statement and request from you, what went on in my mind was I was expecting a form of recap of what are the specific things that she has asked you to do. And then point one, the first request, then you have your comment from there. Point two, request from there. Point three of a request, point from there. To me, this kind of format will be important for a meeting evaluation that's delivered in a meeting because, well, Jyothi remembers clearly what she asked of you, and you also remember what she asked of you. The requests were generally made in private, and she may have explained and elaborated what she meant from those requests. But the majority of us here, over 30 of us here, may not have the full details, and after listening to a number of speeches and evaluations, we may have forgotten what you have said earlier. So that connection would be helpful for us to appreciate in greater depth what you have done and what you are doing to support Jyothi. Thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you.
Our next evaluator is usually Joseph, who is evaluating the first speaker. Usually says, for her, leadership is building teams first. A one person being individual by himself or herself will not have the wisdom and clarity that is from 10 committed people combined. So it is important to let everybody shine. Otherwise, how can you call it leadership? It's everything else except leadership, because leaders, we need people around us. Let's invite Yuseli to share her comments for the first project speaker. Yuseli.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, colleague Toastmasters and guests. I am back to deliver my evaluation. Toastmaster Paramjit Singh, thank you for this motivational, inspirational speech that you have presented today. What I really like in this presentation is the humility and the grace that you have presented, the communication plan, because it was people-centered. The plan was people-centered. The presentation was people-centered. Congratulations for that you really value. It's like you value human being. You value the well-being of the people around you. I really appreciate the aspect of your presentation. During the introduction, you asked a question to the audience that make everybody feel engaged with you. And I was observing the audience. They were all is at your presentation. You gave explanation first why you did this communication plan at your company because of the big change that what will happen, and then you presented what you did for your presentation for your communication plan. You presented 3 phases. The first one, you inform to do not let place for any last-minute surprise. Everyone's voice matters, and then you addressing the people concerned. What I really like in the way that you have presented those phases, it's like you say what you will do, how you will do it, why you will do it, and the impact that they have had on the team. That was really great. That was easy for the audience to follow and easy for us to remember and apply in our own life for our own experience at a job. The other thing, you bring a lot of brilliant expression to the people to motivate us to take care of our team. You have presented the difference between uncertainty and a trust. Where there are uncertainty, people lose trust. And change is easy to announce, difficult to observe. That is really true. Congratulations for that. You make us see and feel the challenges and brought us with you in the solution. Congratulations for that. There are two aspects that I would like to work on your next presentation. First, it was the Zoom presence. You cut off your shoulder. It seems that you were using your phone number, but you can put the phone number a little further so that we can see your arms, even if you are trying to use your hand, but it was not accurate. The other aspect, the question, the way that you ask the first question in the beginning, you ask how many of you. In a speech, when you ask question, how many of you, most of the time it's nobody. Because if you don't need the data that you will collect, it's like it's nobody, because you will not need to use 5 or 10 people. In this case, it's better to ask the question, have you ever? So whether people answer or not, you will still move on with your speech. Other than that, congratulations. I get inspired. I learned many lessons from you, good voice and accurate eye contact. And we are waiting for you, Toastmaster Paramjit Singh, for your next presentation. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
One moment. Okay. Usually, you have requested for feedback on being concise. When I see this word, my mind goes, chop, chop, chop. What can I chop? Some suggestions for you usually to consider. Number one, you have been introduced. So when you come up, straight away go, members and guests. I have three praises and three areas for improvements for my speaker. The first area is, and you carry on. Number two, it helps when you use the format. I observed this, and I felt the impact on me was. The difference is that in the middle, you don't have to add whether you liked it or you don't like it. Usually came with a bright smile, and this gave me confidence and interest in listening to someone I believe is a confident speaker. Done. Next point. In this format, you possibly can add more elaborations on what you have seen, as well as why it is important to you. While you said being concise, one area I'd like to challenge you usually is that your evaluation is very full. You have a lot of points there. My challenge for you is, why not just pick 3 and spend about 45 seconds talking about each of them. So you talk about them in detail and you explain them in detail so that the impact becomes more evident for all of us here to learn from you. Thank you so much, Yuseli. Our next evaluator is Robin Stone, who is evaluating the second project speaker. Robin describes himself as a retired accountant, a professional skeptic who have worked with too many teams to remember. Very few are effective, and he feels whether a team really is exceptional and effective boils down to how effective the leadership is. Let's hear from Robin and his feedback for our second project speaker. Robin.
Thank you so much. I'm going to evaluate Helene using a method which I learned a while back, which is particularly appropriate, I think, for this speech. And it's SEI. How does the speech appeal to the senses, the emotions, and the intellect? So I'm going to start off because this speech was really actually all about the senses. And you actually took the challenge head on of using both body language and vocal variety to enhance your speech. I was actually really blown away, quite impressed by the way that you did that. I want to start off with your Zoom presence was excellent. Your eye contact was clear. I noticed you did look down at your notes periodically, but that was not a major problem. The body language you used, the gestures were mainly purposeful and actually added to your speech. I like the one where you in the beginning where you're talking about holding on, where you during the speech where you're talking about the river flowing and actually how powerful that can be over time. Very effective and very, very intentional in the way you used your body language. When it came to vocal variety, I was also surprised at your mastery of this, considering that you're using your third or fourth language. Very, very effective. I like the way you dropped your pace when you were talking about your divorce. It actually drew us in and really spoke to us. That, for me, is the idea of using personal stories like that is where you were able to form an emotional connection, certainly with me, and I guess many others in the audience as well. All of this resulted in a well-constructed speech with a very clear conclusion, which was really your title, When Control Ends, Freedom Begins. And that is so powerful, such a powerful thought that it's difficult to add on to that. One thing, consider using a plain background other than a virtual background if you have access to one. Then you won't disappear into the background periodically. Otherwise, very well done, first class. Back to you, Holmes.
Thank you, Robin, for the reminder of a plain background. I just remembered I should have done it too. Robin, you have requested for feedback on giving a positive and constructive evaluation. When I see the term positive, some of the things that I would recommend that you keep an eye out for is whether you are smiling and whether your eyes sort of have a sense of light and encouragement for others. This is one thing that I encourage you to look at because there were moments that I specifically saw in your evaluation. You did. I saw it in your evaluation, and I'll encourage you to make it more consistent, especially at the points where you say you like it, it was impressive. Those would have made your praises for the speaker more impactful. In terms of constructive evaluation, one of the tips that I have heard from other speakers is how depending on your rapport with the person that you're evaluating with, your suggestion and your feedback can be given the sense, so-and-so, speaker so-and-so, I would imagine that if you did this, the impact that you have delivered, which was A, will become A++. That may be a format that you may wish to consider in terms of putting in more positivity, even when it comes to areas of improvements. For your consideration, Robin. Our next evaluator is DTM Irfan Faroqi, who is evaluating third speaker. Irfan describes himself as someone who loves to explore the philosophies of social and professional life and presents these through stories, if I may add, fascinating stories. Over to Irfan and his evaluation, his feedback for the third project speaker. Irfan.
Thank you very much. We heard Gilda Shlah today telling us about her leadership style. Gilda, I would first of all appreciate that you started your speech, particularly because you engaged the audience. And three things that you asked me particularly, that one of them was about engagement of audience, second was about your audios, and the third thing that you wanted was about your hand movement. So excellent work because you engaged the audience. You asked some question about people, have they gone through an experiment where they deserve to get a promotion, they were qualified, but the promotion was not given to them. I don't know about others, but it was me who was nodding like this, yes, 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 because I have gone through this experiment and I understand again and again that these were my words that created a distance. And this is what you were telling today, that we have to reword ourselves, because when we are in a leadership position, our words should not communicate a negative message to listeners. So I appreciate that, yes, you engaged the audience, you fulfilled the project, and it was very relatable also. In your speech, you presented you presented various types of leadership styles. You talked about autocratic style, you talked about democratic style, and you presented examples from your life where they were fit in. For example, when you are with your friends going out, that is a democratic style. When you are mentoring and coaching, that is a different style. So you presented it with examples. I appreciate that also. A big take home from your presentation was that there cannot be one uniform leadership style, and you propose that we should adjust and we should facilitate others while we are setting up, while we're communicating with them. So this is my take home, that I cannot adopt one uniform leadership style for every situation. I should be flexible, the word you use, flexible. Coming up to the things that you talked about, your vocal variety was very good. At many times you were talking about past, so you used the style. You said, I was afraid, and you said our words can destroy, so connections, our words can destroy connections. So your voice was changing, that had a strong emphasis in it. A few things that you can work upon. You told a story, your sister told you that your style is wrong. Then what happened? Did you change your style? So that story could have been completed if you tell what happened then. You delivered your speech in standing position, but you were not using any gestures. You were standing on one position. You could have changed your positions. So overall, I would say a good speech, but two things, if you add them, speech will be to the next level. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Irfan. You have requested for feedback in two areas. One is being structured and the other is being in-depth. In terms of structure, my point goes to majority of the evaluators here. Structure itself also requires an introduction of the format, and a conclusion. I think most of us would have missed out on the conclusion and the summary in our evaluation today. Thankfully, it's not a competition. Otherwise, I think we all lost a good 15 or 20 marks. So a conclusion also pulls all the evaluators to be selective in choosing, if you must have, maybe 5 points at most. But I typically recommend 3. Why 3 is because the second part, which is being in-depth. For example, it is very common for evaluators, which Irfan did today, on saying there could have been more body language, or there could have been more vocal varieties. But what kind of body language and what kind of vocal varieties did Irfan, which I'm very confident that Irfan, as an experienced speaker and leader, already had a list of things on his mind. But unfortunately, in today's evaluation, as a listener, I was not aware of the possibilities that Irfan has saw in the speaker and why those possibilities would have made the speaker an exceptional one. So to all evaluators, do take note, each of us have many wonderful ideas in our mind, but it is only when we articulate those out that our speaker as well as our audience will be able to better appreciate where we are coming from. Thank you so much, Irfan. I'd like to call my apologies, let me say that again. With all our evaluators delivered their evaluation, I'd like to have the timers report for the evaluators, as well as the Zoom master to launch the poll for the best effort evaluation. While everyone is voting for the best effort evaluator, I also like to invite the grammarian to deliver the grammarian's report. Christina, grammarian.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Now let me go to my grammarian report. The word of the day today is cultivate. And I noticed that many of our members did not use the word cultivate. I heard Jyothi use once, Robin used once in his evaluation, and Sandra used once in her evaluation. I did not catch any improper usage of the language. Well, coming to the thoughts, quotes, and sayings that I like, I pick up in Jyothi's in her speech. She said a sentence that caught my attention. The child within us wakes up. And also in her speech, she said people over process. Made me thought, she is a leader that I like. And she mentioned a theory called Wolf theory. And in Helene's speech, she uses metaphor, the strength of the phrases of the strength of letting go. That's my grammarian report. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Christina, for the grammarian's report. Christina's grammarian report, one area that she has done well is that she identified when there are good uses of language. She identified the linguistic tool that was used, for example, in Helene's case. Where I always feel that grammarians could push the meaning forward is what might be some other linguistic tools that members in leadership speak may not be very used to using. And when introducing some of this to the meetings, perhaps our future meetings will also become more colorful in terms of the language used. Thank you so much, Christina. I'll move on to my general evaluation. Members and guests, you may have noticed by now that our meeting today is shorter by almost an hour as compared to our usual meetings, and this was deliberate. One of the reasons is the founder of Leadership Speak, Bram, has organized an event, competition 7 minutes magic challenge, which is, I think, already started. And many of Leadership Speak members are participating in that particular event. So to show support for Bram's project, the executive committee has decided we will have a simpler meeting today. We will still want to have a meaningful meeting, but a simpler one today, so that those who wish to, you may go and also support your fellow members or your fellow friends and colleagues at the 7-minute challenge. Now let me focus on this particular meeting. In this meeting, there are a few people that I'd like to commend. You have placed in exceptional effort in taking double roles. And double roles doesn't mean just being on the meeting taking double roles, but also behind the scenes, also supporting the meeting in multiple ways. People include, but not limited to, Jyothi, who is TMOD as well as an educational speaker, Yusali, who is Zoom master as well as evaluator, Sonia, who is timer and PR master, as well as Christina, who is SAA and grammarian. There are many others whom I know you are also double-hatting as trainers, as mentors for the speakers or for other roles in order for each of our meetings to run smoothly. Hence, my deepest appreciation goes to all members. Thank you so much for your self-directed leadership. In this meeting, how could all of us act out more self-directed leadership? There are some areas that I'd like to encourage all members and even guests, by the mere fact that you are here in a leadership-focused Toastmasters Club, I'll take you as a leader. Members and guests, fellow leaders, how could we all become better, even if we are just a listener? Some of the things I appreciate everyone to do is, as much as possible, turn on your cameras, react and participate actively through your facial expression, through the Zoom chat, through the Zoom reaction. This not only gives the person who is speaking a clear indication that they are real human beings listening to this person, but it also forces individuals who are listeners as audience. What is our contribution? What is our feedback? What is our gift that we can give to the club, to the speaker, to the role player? I would like to encourage all members as well as guests to consider doing this the next time you are in another online meeting, which may or may not be Leadership Speak. For many of us, I know you are taking many notes to share your feedback privately with other members or role takers, speakers or role takers. I encourage you, among the notes that you are taking, it is also helpful to share some of them in the Zoom chat or in the meeting WhatsApp group, so that the learning points that you're offering to an individual member can also become collective learning. These are some suggestions, so that as a community, we grow together with engagement with one another. A final point, which is slightly repeating of some of our evaluators, I would like to encourage everyone to be watchful of the Zoom presence that we take on as we become the main speaker or the evaluator. This is a training place. This is an experimental ground. This is what Toastmasters is, to experiment how we can use technology to enhance our communication skills. And as leaders as we are, how can we use technology and our our skills in communication to better communicate our message. The suggestion on having a plain background, I acknowledge sometimes I also forget about that, so I'm thankful for the evaluator that mentions it. Use the plain background when you are the one that's being spotlighted and speaking, but when you are off, you're more than welcome to use the common background to show a common community spirit. As we are on Zoom, even though we are on Zoom, there is still plenty of opportunities to use your positions on how you want to express different roles, A versus B, or your expressions. Some of our members who are more skilled in technology may remember that in previous meetings, we also had more use of Zoom technology, different backgrounds and different parts of the presentations, some little gestures and things that appear on the screens, sound effect. But sometimes some meetings may not have as much, and I encourage members to consider that as much as physical face-to-face meetings have a whole list of tools that you can use in online meetings, there is equal, if not more, opportunities for you to use different tools to enhance your communication. In summary, members and guests, I'm very appreciative that all of you are here today. In today's meeting, we have a shorter one in support of an event that our founder, Bram Mon, is having, and I encourage everyone to subsequently go and support members who are there. That's my first point. My second point, I'm very thankful for all the commitment that our members, even our guests, I know you are making your sacrifices to come here and to listen to us and to be with us. Thank you so much for all the commitment that you're placing. And two areas in which I encourage everyone to consider is, one, as an audience member or guest, how can you be more participatory? How can you be more engaged in whichever Toastmaster meeting or any kind of online meeting that you are listening into? And secondly, when you are the speaker, how can you use technology, all the tools that are available, to enhance your communication skills? May everyone become masters of communication in our online environment as we collectively explore and experiment using our Toastmasters meeting as a learning ground. With that, thank you so much. I'd like to hand back over to TMOD, Jyothi Thomas.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator and the President. Now we move on to something which is very important. At the end of the session, we bring it to a beautiful closure where we talk about where we started, the theme of the day. The speaker today, this is what she has to say about the theme. It's a great reminder that leadership goes beyond a title. It requires collaboration, accountability, and an intentional commitment to adding value to others. Now, who might that be? None other than our very own Toastmaster Nicole White, who will now present the thought of the day. Over to you, Toastmaster Nicole.
Leadership that builds strong teams. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, Jyothi's speech on our theme challenged us to pause, reflect, and make a conscious decision to see our people, value their contributions, and practice the consistent behaviors that build trust. As a leader, I wholeheartedly agree. After all, how can we lead effectively if we aren't attuned to our team's needs? Cultivating the genuine connection and involvement that drives commitment. And how can we show the way if we are not trustworthy, dependable, and accountable? We saw these characteristics in action throughout our meeting today. Our Toastmaster of the day navigated this morning with genuine connection. I know you agree. And the team of role players rallied behind her powerfully. As she shared, people are engaged when they feel included. And we saw that demonstrated in every segment of this meeting. Leading with an agile and dynamic mindset is the hallmark of a leader who builds strong teams. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope the central theme for today's meeting resonated with you. Strong teams forged by choosing to see, value, and sustain the people who make progress possible. Always remember, we build lasting foundation when we lead with intention. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster today.
I just can't stop smiling. So beautifully said. And she lived what she just said. And that is very clearly posted right here on the chat. Thank you very much, Nicole. Now, this brings us to this very interesting point where we need to be posting the awards and the recognitions of people in our meeting today. May I now request for the best effort to be displayed here, please? Drum roll, let's get ready. Be generous and throw all your heart and your clap. Whoa. Huh? I'm so excited.
Congratulations, Jyothi.
Thank you. That is my team. Thank you ever so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I told you I can't stop smiling because my team made sure I can stand tall. With that, we are now going to get the president to...
Oh, the evaluators.
Pardon? You
Best
said
effort
something?
evaluator
Best
goes to Ghada
evaluator.
Almojarkish. Congratulations, Ghada.
Congratulations, Ghada. The long conversation. And all that comes to us, we give it back double fold to our team. It's truly a shared triumph. With that, I would now like to invite the president who will meet and take care of the guests who are waiting here. We have quite a good number, I guess. Thank you. Over to the president, Holmes.
Thank you, TMOD. I'll call upon a few guests. If it's convenient for you, I would deeply appreciate it if you can both switch on your camera as well as your microphone so we can see you as we speak. Michelle Small, are you available?
Yes, I am. I am not sure. Can you hear me?
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm okay.
Share with us some of your feedbacks on the meeting.
I enjoyed the meeting. Thanks for asking. It was very informative. A special part that had an impact on me was when someone said, let the member feel valued. That was important to me, and I take it. And I'm going to be looking at how I can make the members of my club feel more valued. I also enjoyed the evaluation segments. They were very instructive.
Thank you, Michelle. It makes me very happy to hear that when guys come to our club, they are takeaways that they can implement in their own clubs or in their professional lives. Thank you so much for your feedback. It motivates me, and I'm also sure it motivates our members to continue doing our best when it comes to our meetings. Thank you so much, Michelle. And when you're available, we welcome you to continue visiting us. Cedric Udeshi, are you available?
Yes, thank you very much, President Holmes. Today's meeting, I've enjoyed different speakers. We had the first speaker who presented on moving minds without losing minds, whereby I got a point about how uncertainty can build trust. Then I have also learned from your evaluation on how we can make the online meeting to be even more engaging and more presence than like the physical ones. So thank you, and back to you. I look forward to joining in another future meeting.
Thank you so much, Cedric, for being with us and also sharing with us what are some of the takeaways that you have. Definitely, when you're available, do continue to come and visit us. Thank you so much, Cedric. Marcela, I know you've been trying to unmute earlier on. Hey, yes, I see you unmute, Marcela. Yes.
Hello. Good
How are
day.
you? Yes, I finally hear your voice after a brief moment at the start of the meeting.
Nice to see you, Mr. President. I enjoyed the meeting. I got many, many nuggets, great nuggets from your meeting today. I learned quite a lot. Actually, I was a member of your club, but life happens and I could not continue. But I'm happy to be here today and I'm looking forward to attending more of your meetings. Great job, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Marcela. Thank you so much. And by the way, if your life situation and circumstances allow, I would also invite you to consider rejoining us so that we can have you as a member and we can together grow as a tightly knitted community. Thank you so much for being with us, Marcela. Rose Odundo, are you available?
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, President Holmes. Sorry, I can't put on my camera. At the moment, I am elated to be here. You've cultivated a very strong team, and it's been wonderful. I actually reached out because I was trying to rejoin at the end of the month. I think we sort of like communicated a little bit. It's been a bit difficult for me. This week was very busy. And in the process, I looks like I may have to delay again, but I should hopefully still rejoin. One of the reasons I wanted to rejoin was if you have the meetings of Tuesday, used to have meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Are they still carried out or did they stop?
At the moment, we still have meetings on Thursdays, but on Tuesdays, there have been
Yes.
some changes in the club. I can describe them to you when we have a call.
All right. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But I'll see how, as she mentioned, the earlier speaker said happened. I'll see how life happens, and when exactly I'll be able to come in. I really enjoyed the meeting. The only comment I would make is I wondered to myself whether there was practice before this meeting. It was good, but I know that there are areas that could have been better. Jyothi has impressed. She's really did very well, and most people did. But I found that there were a few places that some people were stammering and lost the direction. And I wondered whether the Thursday meetings happened. So probably that could be made a little bit stronger so that it gets back. But all in all, it was excellent. I learned a lot and many nuggets. And this morning, I actually presented on leadership, more or less what was presented, and I really learned a lot, and I learned about letting go of things I can't control. Thank you so much, and back to you, President. You'll allow me to leave soon. I try and join the other meeting. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Rose, for the feedback, for being here, as well as your continued interest in Leadership Speak. Yes, when you're available, you have my Calendly link. Let us speak.
Okay,
Looking
thank you. And
forward.
sorry, yes, and thank you very much to Joyce. The greeting was what made me stay to the end. Thank you so much. I felt so welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Michael Jose, are you available to speak? Michael Jose.
Nice to see you, Holmes. Our president at Harvard Sokol, the Advanced Toastmasters Club. Missing you so much. I'm glad to be here again, and even I was late today because I had something to do at the beginning of the meeting. But I really enjoyed the meeting that you, especially you, the general evaluator, you have done a great job. Thank you. Get back to the homes. Get back to you. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much, Michael. When you're available, please continue to visit us. Thank you so
Definitely.
much, Michael, for being here.
Yeah. Thank you.
I believe I have covered the guest. I'd like to hand back over to the TMOD for her concluding remarks and thanks. And I'd like to also suggest that for today's purposes, we will conclude the meeting without a post-meeting discussion, so that those who wish to may either take a break or support the other event. Over to you, Jyothi.
Thank you very much, President Holmes. And this brings us to not really the end, but yet an opening of a better meeting next time. Thank you for all of you who've been here, supported us. And now the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Have a great
Bye. Bye.